There's a lot of information that I want to share with you today, so let's just do it. First and foremost, I want to make you understand a little bit the progression for me with the Canon Eosm. So it has been like 3 years when first I bought the Canon Eosm and installed the Magic Lantern and started to use it. Now, since that, so it was in 2023 or 22, a lot of progress has been made with the Magic Lantern. I'm always remembering that at the beginning, recording and using the Magic Lantern was really a pain in the ass. I mean, the live preview was catastrophic. I couldn't see exactly what I'm filming. And yeah, it was just complicated. So it has been a lot of, bitter and sweet experience with the Canon Eosm. But in time, it really started to be a software, the Magic Lantern, that today is extremely usable. And that's kind of nice. Today, really, you can use the Canon Eosm with the Magic Lantern and create short films, commercials, and record just nice cinematic concepts. It's quite easy. But there's still a learning curve. And although the camera, it is inexpensive, I mean, now I don't know if you can buy it new in the sense of finding it in the stores, non-used. But there are still, I found the camera. I still see, vendors who are selling the Canon Eosm new cameras. But if not, you can still buy it used, and it's around 250 euros, dollars. And for that amount, with the Magic Lantern, it's quite impressive what you can do and what you can learn, because that's the nice thing with the Canon Eosm and the Magic Lantern. It allows you to learn a lot, because using the Canon Eosm with the Magic Lantern, in time, you have to, learn things. Firstly, to understand how a lens is functioning, meaning with the manual focusing. You have to learn it. You have to learn what aperture ring means, how you establish yourself for the framing, for the footage, how much light, how do you expose your recording frame. So yeah, how do you understand a vectorscope, a histogram, and so on and so forth, false colors. Well, these are things that allows you for that amount, 250, plus an SD card. So let's say $350, $400, euros will really help you to learn all these things. And in that status, the Canon Eosm is a pocket cinema camera. But as you advance using this camera, you will find the limitations. But firstly, the first limitation will be the recording time. And, recording time with the camera as, storage goes, because recording raw video format, it occupies, having a lot of data on it, it occupies a lot of space. So, for example, a card of, I don't know, 150 giga storage will be full extremely quickly. So you will fill it up extremely quickly. So storage space wise, you will need really a big amount of storage, like 155 giga storage space is really the limit. Then you have the option of 256, and yeah, go even further. Then you will find another limitation is the quality of how the Canon USM is functioning. I mean, because Canon Eosm was never built to record raw footages, with the magic lantern will overheat. If you are really intensively using, it will get overheat. Now there are things that you can do to eliminate factors that are contributing to overheat the Canon USM. Everything what is creating energy or use energy, it heats up. That's just the physics. So we have to eliminate things that are, eliminating heat on the Canon USM. What are the two main things that we can eliminate that are creating heat on the Canon USM body? First is the battery. Because the energy from the battery is used intensively because we are recording with the magic lantern raw footages, that battery, the camera with the magic lantern just sucks out the energy from the battery. And because of this, the battery is heating up. I mean, it has to work intensively. So there's an energy, and that energy is translated in heat. So it's heating up, and being the battery heated, well, it will hit the camera body also, and automatically the sensor in the camera. The second thing that is contributing to the overheat of the Canon USM, or it helps if you want, is the screen. The back screen of the camera, it does the same thing. In time, it heats up because it's working with screens are gauging energy and heat. So that's also contributing to overheating of the camera. So these are the two things that we can eliminate. How? Well, the screen, by using an external monitors, that's the easiest part. And secondary, well, for the battery, we can just use dummy batteries, for example. So we put a false battery inside the Canon USM, and using an external battery, well, that external battery probably and most obviously will get heated, but it will not affect the body of the Canon USM. So these two things are very important if you want, and if you are using intensively and for long duration your camera, or in environment where already it is hot, is the temperature really hot. But then if you are thinking about budget, so you cannot just say that it costs you $250, for example, $100 the SD card, because you need really high speed, fast SD card, and those are still expensive. So we are already around 300, right? 50 dollar euros. Now you need a monitor. Monitor the cheapest. Let's say you can go around, I don't know, 150, $200, right? So we are already at $550 the kit. And then the dummy battery with an external battery, that's not that expensive, but let's say we are at $400. So at $400 right now, with that configuration, we can start shooting for a longer period, using it extensively, having an external battery. We have more time, more recording time. So that's really cool. And the camera is more reliable than without the dummy battery and the monitor and the batteries, on Canon USM, they are just really small. So you cannot just use it intensively with native batteries. So we are at 550, and well, having an external monitor, the dummy battery, the external battery, I mean, you have to build up. So you have to create a rig. Now, in order to create a rig, you need a cage. For the Canon USM, it's quite difficult to find a cage because it has been never built. I didn't find, anyway, a company who is created a body specially for the Canon EOS-M. So I searched a lot, and I saw even on the YouTube here, many people who are building up a rig for the Canon EOS-M using other cages, or cages that were made for other cameras, other models. And I saw that the majority of the cages are not fit for the Canon USM, obviously, and that's just normal. And I was searching myself again a cage, because the cage will help me to construct this entirety, this kit, where I can have, I can put and tied the external monitor, the external battery, and then have all this together ready for shooting. And so we just need this kind of rig in order to be usable anytime, to be able to take it with you, to be mobile with it, right? And this is where today I want to present you my first ultimate but beta version rig that I created. And here it is. This is my rig. This is ultimate but beta version, really just beginning of my rig. Now, what is so special about this rig, why I love it, and why there's none such a rig like this one? Firstly, the cage. Now, today, I will talk to you, I will just generic, and then I will, develop the idea and speak each of these part and elements. So today, the cage Look at that cage. If you can see it, it's really following the Canon Eosm. It doesn't take more space than the Canon Eosm. This cage is from small rig, and it has been made for the Sony Alpha 6600 series. Now, it's for Sony Alpha 600 6000 series, so this I cannot recommend you. I can only recommend you if you are somebody who can modify things, if you are somebody who can cut things, because this needed a lot of modification. First modification, the big one, look at here. Now here, of course, the battery, to take out the battery, it wasn't working, so I had to cut out a big chunk from here in order to be able to do this movement. So now I can take out the dummy battery, because I have a dummy battery, right, from here. And let's say if you have a dummy battery, you don't want to take out, but you want to take out the SD card. So in order to take out the SD card, I just had to modify it. But what I love about this cage is that it's built entirely from one piece, right? So this is not, from separate parts. The entirety is just one piece. That makes it really sturdy, really great. And that's why I was able to cut out this chunk without any problems. What I love secondary about this cage from Small Rig and for the Sony Alpha 6600 is that it's a little bit wider. So I have here a little bit of space. But this has a very cool functionality. Now I haven't found it, but I'm searching because I would love to put here on this wall a little bit of, wood kind of thing like a handle. But this works extremely well as a handle. It's very comfortable. I can hold it like this. It's very sturdy. And it just allows me to have a good grab of the camera. And yeah, that's just nice. Now up here, I put the monitor, and then I have here, this is the external battery. Now, if you didn't do this, I want you to pay attention. I mean, I bought this battery. This is one 10,000 milliampere battery, but it's only 25 watt power. That means that when I wanted to, I did connect it with the dummy batteries, the Canon Eosm wouldn't want it to start. So I felt, I was annoyed. I didn't understand why. So it didn't give, but these are for mobile phones. So mobile phones generally are working with 5 volts. So the Canon Eosm, I looked on the battery and needs 7.2, 7.4 volts energy. So this external battery, even though it has a 10,000 milliampere power storage, it allows to go outside only 5.2 volts. So it was not enough for the Canon Eosm. So for me personally, I had to find another solution. But because, let me just tell you, this rig is also a solution for me, a personal solution, because when I bought the external monitor, I bought it as used, is Fieldword, the F6 Plus. It's a very cool monitor and works perfectly with the Canon Eosm. But when I bought it, it was, with two batteries. So I have two batteries with it. And so my decision for me with the cable management, how I'm using today is that, in fact, this battery is powering the screen. And then from the screen, I take out, because the screen has an out of 8 volts. So I'm taking out 8 volts and giving to the Canon Eosm. This is the solution that I find for my camera. And what is funny is that, so it's very interesting when I'm, starting up the system. Firstly, I start up the screen with the USB-C. So let me just show you. So you see, I am starting up my screen with the USB-C because I don't have here the batteries, right? And then what I do is I put a battery in here, right? And the battery, now this battery will give the power to my Canon Eosm. So now I have the power for my Canon Eosm, right? This is a system that I have found that it's working quite nicely. Just 1 second, like this. So now I can just start my Canon Eosm, and it is already working. So this is the system that I'm using it. And what is interesting, that lately the recordings that I have made with this ring, I found out I don't have really 100% explanation, but what I found out is that it's working better than before with this ring. Now, the only explanation today that I have with this ring is that because initially with this power bank, the Canon Eosm was not working, I had to, search for a solution. And as I told you, the solution that I found was to take the power from this battery throughout the screen and introduce to the Canon Eosm. But as I told you, I was afraid because the outgoing current here is 8 volts. That's too much, way too much for the Canon Eosm. And I know that is way too much because I tried out directly to take this energy and connect to be the dummy battery. And it was not working, and I was afraid that I will destroy the Canon Eosm. So what I have done is I have created, you see this attachment is a special attachment. I mean, it's not nice. But what is interesting is that I cut it out and I introduced transistors here. So I have limited the power from the screen from 8 volts to 7.4 volts, around 7.4 or 5-ish, having introduced here transistors, and that's why I just rebuild it as I could, This, I don't know if you can see this, this attachment, this jack. So I think because I am giving a little bit more juice to the camera, the performance of the camera has increased, meaning that the recording now is better than before. It's strange. It's not only because of the heat, because obviously by doing this, having this configuration, well, the camera now has nothing, it has no screen and no battery that eliminates heat. So it will not, contribute to the overheating or the heating up of the camera, and the camera is more stable. But I don't think it's only that. I think it's even the fact that the camera has more juice. It receives more energy. This is interesting. I mean, I have to do further testing, but I really believe that's the case. I'm giving a little bit more juice because, I mean, I just couldn't bother, and I didn't really, measured a lot what the transistors are doing. It's just like on the feeling. I did it really on the feeling. So I just put 2 transistors in order to control a little bit and downgrade these 8 volts. But I'm pretty sure that I didn't go down until to 7.2 or 7.4. I think there's a little bit more. But apparently that more helps out the Canon Eosm to have better performance. Better performance meaning that at the 5.2K now, the camera is not that sensitive. I can film, I can leave it overexposed, and I can still record in a 5.2K and 14 bits RAW. I mean, before there was a problem, and if you are a Canon Eosm user, you know even better than me, and you are frustrated that when you are going outside in sunshine, bright light, you can see that your footage is overexposed. You are trying to record that because maybe you want that to overexpose, or you want to have flares, you want to record the sun. Well, your camera will not allow you to record maybe 1-2 seconds, but it will not allow you to record that. You will get the arrows, it will just stop the recording. Well, it's not the case right now. I can record overexposed and I don't have a problem. Even when I'm starting up and it's red, then it's turning to yellow and to green. It's amazing. I'm just telling you what is happening. I don't really have the entirety of the answers, but the explanation for me is that it's because the Canon Eosm has more juice, receiving more juice, not a lot, because as I told you, I tried out with 8 volts, straight 8 volts to the camera, and it wasn't working, and I was afraid to test it even further. So yeah,